Big dose of Big Brother. Austin, Texas sees a spike in crime after they voted to defund the police. Plus, we'll look at President Trump's path to victory in the Electoral College. All that and more. I'm Bobby Eberle. This is Saturday Live Stream.
God bless the United States of America.
All right, friends, welcome to the show. Happy Saturday. Thank you so much for joining us. If you're new to the show, thank you for tuning in. I really appreciate it. Today's show is dedicated to the issues that President Trump and Joe Biden are fighting about and President Trump's path to victory. We're going to look at polling. We're going to look at the electoral map. And then I've got a special announcement. We actually have a special edition 13-minute news hour tomorrow night, primetime, 7 p.m. I'll give you more details about that a little later in the show. But first, let's talk about some of the issues that President Trump and Joe Biden are talking about. I mean, Joe Biden is flip-flopping on everything that he talked about as far as the economy. What he wants to do will destroy the economy. He's favoring lockdowns, but he says he doesn't favor them anymore. Defunding the police, he's come out, which I'll show you, to defund the police, says he's not in favor of that anymore. But let's talk about these. Let's talk about these issues. We saw the economy. I talked about that on Friday's show, how we had this huge 33% gain in the GDP, a V-shaped recovery, just like President Trump talked about. That's what we're seeing. The Democrats didn't want it. They were hoping they wouldn't get it. They want to keep people locked down. And why? Because it destroys the economy. But we see the economy as other states are opening up. We see the result. But let's talk about these lockdowns, folks, because this is what Joe Biden is pushing. He wants to keep people locked down. And look at what is coming in Michigan. This is unbelievable. And here's a report from Fox News. Diners in Michigan will be required to give their name and phone number to restaurants and bars starting Monday in an effort to contain a recent coronavirus surge, according to reports. The new rule was put in place by the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services on Thursday and also includes limiting indoor gatherings without fixed seatings, like restaurants, to 50 people and individual tables to 6 people, the Detroit News reported. So wow, folks, this reminds me of like show me your papers in the Soviet Union or East Germany. It's absolutely nuts. In order to go to a restaurant, you have to give your name and phone number so they can track you. It is outrageous, and here's more of the story. Justin Winslow, president and CEO of the Michigan Restaurant and Lodging Association, said in a statement, the contact tracing mandate doesn't match existing science and data that shows minimal transmission from dining at restaurants. Only about 2% of cases the state is investigating, according to Winslow, Fox 17 reported. Establishments could be fined $1,000 for not following the order, according to Fox 17. $1,000 fine, folks. $1,000 for the restaurants not doing this job of acting like Big Brother, getting your name and phone number just so you can go out to eat. It's absolutely outrageous. As I've talked about in previous shows, we shouldn't have lockdowns in the first place. And we see how the economy is rebounding on the states that have reopened. But again, the Democrats at the state level and using it as a national political issue want to keep people locked down so it hurts the economy and gives them more power. And here's a report from Michigan station Fox 17.
Scott Ellis is the executive director of the Michigan Licensed Beverage Association, a group that worked with the state on the new guidelines, but he says that does not always mean the two sides agree. He also adds it's not appropriate to pin COVID increases on restaurants and bars.
Our frontline servers have already had troubles now dealing with masks and mandating people wearing masks. We went through all that. We did de-escalation training and all kinds of other things to help with that. Now we're taking it to a next level. We have to gather someone's personal information.
All right, folks, see, this is just absolutely outrageous. Gathering people's information, personal information, and this guy made a good point, is that you won't even know the accuracy of this because I would give some bogus 555 number if I were out there and some Joe Smith name. I mean, Pee Wee Herman or Darth Vader or something that I always used to do at those sandwich shops where you have to list your name and they call it out. I don't know how many times I visited where they called out Yoda or Darth Vader, your sandwich is ready. That's what I'd be doing at these places. It's absolutely nuts. But that's the lockdowns. That's what's happening in Michigan. And this is why Michigan voters, this state is so swing, so crucial. It was so close last time. These are the policies that Joe Biden wants to do. He supports this. He supports what Governor Gretchen Whitmer is doing. So, folks, if you're in Michigan, talk to your friends. One of our moderators, Steele for Real, he's out in Michigan. Talk to people, folks. This is why President Trump will win, because of these lockdowns. Now, let's talk about crime. Defunding the police movement. These riots, these lootings that have gone crazy over the summer that the Democrats said nothing about. Remember the Democrat National Convention? They had basically the national focus for 3 or 4 days, said nothing about the riots and lootings, the monuments being defaced, vandalized, toppled, said nothing about that. Polling came out, said, you know what? American people actually don't like that. And then they started to talk about it. So anytime you see any Democrat talking head or Joe Biden say, I've always denounced this, it's 100% false, because they didn't. They ignored it until I got the bad polling. So look at the fallout. We saw what happened in Seattle. We see what's happening in other police departments. Look at my home state, Austin, Texas, who voted to defund the police. Look at what's going on.
Surplus military equipment for law enforcement. They don't need that. The last thing you need is an up-armored Humvee coming into a neighborhood. It's like the military invading. They don't know anybody. They become the enemy. They're supposed to be protecting these people. So my generic point is that...
Do we agree that we can redirect some of the funding?
Yes, absolutely.
All right, so that clip was right there. That was what I was talking about with Joe Biden. He talked about defunding the police and then not defunding the police. He was asked there. He was asked, do you support it? Do you support moving funds to other areas? And he did a flat out yes. He wants this money diverted, and that's what's going on in Austin, Texas. That's what they're doing. They are moving money away from the police, and we are seeing the fallout. And here's the story. Austin has seen a spike in violent crime and officer retirements after the city council voted over the summer to immediately slash $20 million from the police department budget, becoming the first major Texas city to do so. In Austin, Austin City Council members voted unanimously to cut about $150 million, or roughly 1/3, from its police department and allocate those funds to areas like violence prevention, housing, and mental health services. So, again, that's what Joe Biden's talking about, taking money away from core police functions, law enforcement, and moving it to the social justice whatever stuff. It will not keep people safer. And we've seen it. And the results are coming in Austin, which voted to do it. And here they are. It is demoralizing for the officers. It is angering for the citizens because they're having to wait longer for officers to get the calls. And it's unsafe for citizens and officers. Austin Police Association President Bill Cassidy told Fox News. Since voting to defund the police, Austin, a historically low crime city, has seen an uptick in murders and aggravated assaults, according to the data from the Austin Police Department's September crime report. So far this year, Austin has seen 35 murders compared to 25 in all of 2019, a percentage increase of 40%. In September, the city saw 3 murders compared to 2 last year. The number of aggravated assaults is also on the rise, jumping 18% from last year, when 1972 were reported, now 2,333 reported in the first 8 months of the year. All right, the other thing that Cassidy noted was that officers, the morale has sunk to new lows. They're retiring. They're leaving the force. They can't stand it anymore, folks. So now we've seen lockdowns and we've seen defund the police movement. The American people are rejecting it. So in these states that are still battleground states, the word needs to get out because Joe Biden and the far left support both of these things. Despite what he says now, we have it on paper, just like saying that he was going to ban fracking. And now he's, I'm not going to ban fracking. I'm not going to get rid of fossil fuels, even though he said those days are numbered. It's going. I don't even know what he says anymore. But that's lockdowns. That's crime. And there's Joe Biden. He is right there. So, folks, now for our big segment. We only have a few days until Election Day. Let's dive into the electoral map and let's see what's going on. But first, if you're new to the show or you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. And when you do, please hit that bell so you'll be notified. We're making our push for 100,000 subscribers by Election Day. 100K by Election Day. We only need about 1,500. Can you believe this? I started this contest back in April, I think we had 60,000 subscribers. We only need 1,500 to go for 100,000 subscribers, and we can do it with your help. All right, so now we're going to throw up some maps. I want to get your input. I want to see what you think about these battleground states. We're going to go over some polling. You know, most of it's bogus, but I think there are a couple good polls out there. And just start with the map and see where we end up and see what you think, how you think President Trump will do. So we got a lot of maps to do. Please send in your questions. And let's start. First, let's start with 2016, because this is how President Trump, Citizen Trump, became President Trump. And there you have it, folks. This is 306 for President Trump to 232 for Hillary Clinton. All right. So actually, 306 to 232, that's what they earned. But if you look at if you're a little bit confused and you look at other resources and they show 304 to 227, that is actually what they received. That would be like the historical number of votes, electoral votes for President Trump and electoral votes for Hillary Clinton. Because what happened was you need 538. That's the total. Okay. That gives you 270 that you need to win. President Trump earned through the electoral process 306 to 232. That's your 538 right there. 306 to 232. But you had 7 faithless electors, 7 of them. 2 on President Trump's side. They ended up voting for someone else. That brought him down to 304. And 5 on Hillary Clinton's side brought her to the 227. So that's how you get the 304 to 227. So that's 2016. That was President Trump's path to victory. So let's start now. Let's turn some of these states, let's highlight some of the battleground states, the ones that everyone is talking about, especially the media, and you end up with this. So this is 232 for Biden and 171 for Trump. And basically you see that the 232 is where Hillary Clinton ended up, because what we see, what's being considered the battleground states, are states that President Trump won in 2016, but are so close. They are so close. They're battling. It's obviously Joe Biden needs something there, something to take away from President Trump what he got last time to get him to victory. So there, when you list these battlegrounds, 232 to 171. But I'm not going to stop there, okay? I want to add, let's just throw in a couple more, just for kicks to start it off. And we end up with this map, okay? Now we're changing Nevada and Minnesota. Let's make them battlegrounds. And what I know is history. And what we have is that no Republican has won Nevada since George W. Bush. No Republican has won Minnesota since Richard Nixon. But they were razor thin last time, folks. They were within 1 or 2%. So I think it's right for us to throw those in the battlegrounds too. And that leaves us 216 for Biden, 171 for Trump. So that's kind of our starting point, all right? This is our starting point for our analysis. So where do we go from here? How do we get President Trump to the magic number of 270? And there's a lot of talk out there. There's a lot of talk of North Carolina and Georgia and other states being in play. And I don't buy it, folks. If you look at the polling, if you look at the trends, if you look at the turnout, if you look at the excitement that is following President Trump around, massive enthusiasm gap compared to sleepy Joe Biden. Give me a break. So I'm going to go right now and just say that Ohio, North Carolina, and Georgia all go for President Trump. So we update our map. I put those in President Trump's column, and here's what we have. We have Trump 220 to Biden 216. All right, so where do we go from there? Okay, we still have to get to 270. Let's look at the historical battleground state of Florida. That is big. President Trump needs it. He won it last time. And the polls on Real Clear Politics have Biden ahead, but we see what's happening. The turnout is not matching what the Dems are saying. The excitement for the Republican, for Trump, is good. Trafalgar Group, which has been a very reliable poll, has Trump up by about 2%. And so I put Florida in President Trump's column. So let's update the map. So that gives us, where are we at now? 249 to 216 for Biden. 249 for President Trump, 216 for Biden. All right. So that means we still need 21. We need 21 to get to that magic number of 270. So First off, there's been a lot of talk about Arizona. It's closing. I don't know what happened with these initial polls, but I didn't buy that for a second. Even if you look at Real Clear Politics average, even their average now shows Trump up slightly in Arizona. So that should tell you something right there. And all of these polls, they show tightening, they show closing, President Trump moving in the right direction, Joe Biden moving in the wrong direction. So Real Clear Politics has him up in Arizona. Trafalgar Group has President Trump up in Arizona. I give Arizona to President Trump. So that now we update and we have 260 for Trump and 216 for Joe Biden with 5 states out there. 5 states still up for grabs, at least according to our map, and we need 10. We need 10 for that magic number of 270. And if you see from the states that are out there, the states that are on this map, anyone will get us there except for Nevada. All right. Nevada, we need something else, but any other state, and it's game over. President Trump wins. So let's look at these. Let's look at these crucial states, and we'll leave Minnesota, Nevada for later. But let's look at this trifecta of Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin. President Trump won all of them last time. And here's something you need to keep in mind. We only have a few days left in this election. And just because someone says something like President Trump won Pennsylvania last time, or he won Wisconsin last time, these were very razor thin margins, folks. And it bucked historical trends. You have to go back to Ronald Reagan to see a president, a Republican president, that won Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, and Michigan all in the same election. You have to go back to Ronald Reagan. That streak continued until President Trump. Can he do it again? If you look at the polling, you see some just amazing things that's going on. And I want to go over some polling of these last 5 states. We can put the map back up there and just show what the Trafalgar Group is showing in these 5 states. Nevada, Trump is close to 2%. Minnesota, Trump is close to 3%. Michigan, Trump up 2.5%. Pennsylvania, Trump up 1%. Wisconsin, a dead heat. All right. So in every case, folks, I think Trafalgar gives a more realistic option, a more realistic presentation of what's going on in the polls, what's really happening there. And we see on the ground, we see other data. Pennsylvania, registration, Republican registration is just setting records. Hundreds of thousands of more people registering to be Republican in Pennsylvania. I say President Trump wins Pennsylvania. In Michigan, we see right there that Trafalgar has him ahead, and we see these draconian lockdowns a couple days before the election, and now news comes out that they want people to give their name and phone number just to go out to eat. Make that an election issue. Steele, tell your friends. Folks, all my other friends in Michigan, tell people about this. This right there reminds people of these draconian lockdowns and how people want to open up. It's a Trump recovery because the country is opening up. I put Michigan in the column for President Trump. Wisconsin is a dead heat. It was very close last time, but I think that President Trump can do it. I think he can win this. But see, we have this range now, folks, with Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Michigan, all of this stuff. If we have President Trump, Pennsylvania going for Trump, Michigan going for Trump, then we have this last map. I don't know if we've put this up yet, but that's 296 for Trump, 216 for Biden. Trump wins. Trump wins with Pennsylvania and Michigan. There's your vote right there with 2 states outstanding, Minnesota and Nevada. Those were, I think Nevada was within 2%. Minnesota was razor thin. And look what's going on out there. President Trump is spending a lot of time in Nevada. Minnesota, Minneapolis, Ilhan Omar, these major riots and looting and lockdowns. Folks don't want that. That state is really in play. I would not be surprised if that ended up in President Trump's column. So the 296 with Pennsylvania and Michigan gets him over the top, beats the 270, and that leaves us with a range, folks, of a possibility of 322 to 216, or if Biden gets the rest, 296 to 242. That's the range I see. It's quite possible that President Trump sweeps those and we end up with the 322 to 216. But in any case, he wins. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm predicting. And we'll see how it goes. But I'm very interested to see what you think in the comments, or if you have any comments in the chat about states that I might have missed. Oh, I see we got a great super chat. Thank you so much. I really appreciate the donation. And again, everything that you guys do through super chat goes back to making this show better, having awesome producers. You name it, we're looking to expand. But that's our range, folks, and that's what we're looking at. But again, it all comes down to this last minute push. What President Trump has done in the last couple of weeks, I think has been amazing. The message has been crystal clear, and it has been a direct contrast between what President Trump has done and what he wants to do, and what Joe Biden will do and what he has not done over 47 years. The contrast has been awesome. He's been hitting on the economy. He's been hitting on coronavirus. He's been hitting on jobs, security, you name it. Biden wants to talk about these issues now, but he has nothing to run on except criticizing President Trump, who's done an outstanding job. This is what we're facing. And I believe that President Trump has done a great job of balancing, along with all those issues, also bringing in the Hunter Biden story, because it is much bigger than just Hunter Biden and some emails on a laptop. For one, it shows corruption of the whole Biden family, which obviously includes Joe Biden. This makes him, disqualifies him, folks. He should not be president. People in these swing states, think about it. Do you want to elect someone that could possibly go to jail, get impeached, and thrown out for corruption? He is compromised. He's doing business with China, enriching himself through the power of the vice presidency. This is a bad deal, folks, and there is no way he should be elected because of that. The other thing, and President Trump brings this up, is an issue that the American people can grasp very easily because they see it, they feel it, every time they go on social media, go on Facebook, go on Twitter. They see that conservatives are censored. They're blocked, they're throttled, you name it. When the New York Post broke this story on Hunter Biden, they were shut out of Twitter, throttled on Facebook, and the American people can't stand it. They think they are up against everything. Basically, the left controls education, they control the media, they control big tech. We need to fight back. If this issue resonates and we use it, we can push President Trump over the top, over that 270 mark, because again, folks, we have to fight back. And Joe Biden is mixed up with all of this. Media has gone all in to support Joe Biden. Big tech doesn't censor conservatives. They promote Joe Biden. They block us. They promote him. So it shows that by voting for President Trump, by rejecting Joe Biden, you also are rejecting this onslaught, this rush of the left that wants to take over everything, because you know that if Joe Biden becomes president, they will be in control. They will run the show, and we won't have a voice. We won't have a voice except for the awesome judges that President Trump left us. But if you think Joe Biden will appoint any conservative judges, wrong. If you think he's going to be strong on border security, wrong. Your taxes will go up. Lockdowns will be re-implemented even stronger, which will crush the economy. That is what we're facing come Tuesday. So if you haven't voted yet, please go out there. Use this show as a guideline. Look at the states that are in play. Look at what is crucial, folks. It is a big deal. I've never gotten so intense about an election, because I see that the left, the far radical left, is just waiting. They are just waiting to sink their claws into Joe Biden and push him wherever they want for whatever issue they want. President Trump is the only check, and he has emboldened others. Senator Cruz and others are speaking out now, but it was President Trump who led the way from the beginning. So before I wrap up, any questions out there? Oh, thanks. We got another super chat from John Arnott. I really, really appreciate it. What do you guys think as far as electoral votes? What states do you think are in play? And what number do you think? What will President Trump's final total be? Jose, thank you so much for the super chat. I really appreciate it. And now, folks, for the special announcement. Tomorrow, we have a Sunday edition of the 13-Minute News Hour. We're going to be talking with the former White House Director of Strategic Communications and now a senior advisor in the Trump campaign, Mercedes Schlapp. She's going to join us 7 p.m. tomorrow. We're going to talk about the closing minutes of the campaign. We're basically down to minutes. Socialism and Joe Biden, the far left, her influence in the campaign, President Trump's embrace of empowering women, and how that should affect suburban women in this vote. We're going to talk to her about all of that. Please tune in. We're so fortunate that the Trump campaign is reaching out, getting in touch with 13-Minute News Hour. We get to put this on tomorrow. That's 7 p.m. Central Time, special Sunday edition of the 13-Minute News Hour. But folks, that's our show for today. I hope you enjoyed it. I'll stick around for the post-show chat, which is always interesting. But before you go, please subscribe. And when you do, please hit that bell so you'll be notified. And we'll see you next time. I'm Bobby Eberle. This is a Saturday live stream. Okay, friends, thanks so much for watching. And before you go, please hit that subscribe button, hit that bell so you'll be notified. And here's a special video just for you so you can watch even more of the 13-Minute News Hour. And don't forget to check out GOPUSA.com for the best in conservative news and commentary. We'll see you next time.